Hola, muy buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches. Sea lo que sea la hora, bienvenido, bienvenida o bienvenida X a esta lección de español acerca de los cambios radicales, o en inglés, stem changing verbs. All right? Now, to introduce these are so important because stem changing verbs are very common in Spanish, and you're going to need them in the present tense, and you're going to want to keep some of them in mind later on in your back pocket for the past tense, specifically the preterite tense. So let's get to it. If you recall, a typical verb is comprised of two parts, the stem and the ending, right, which could be infinitive, or we could add a conjugation to it, just like hablo, I speak. However, a lot of stem changing verbs, or a lot of verbs are stem changers, meaning that when you conjugate it, you have to take into account that the stem of the verb is going to require that you modify the vowel and change it to something else when you conjugate, as in sirvo, I serve. Now, something really important to keep in mind about stem changing verbs is that you do not do a stem change, typically speaking, for the nosotros and vosotros forms. In other words, we call this a boot verb. It's a very common type of verb in the Spanish language. If you draw a boot on top of the conjugation chart, you'll see that the yo, tú, usted, él, ella, ustedes, ellos, ellas are inside the boot, while nosotros, nosotras, vosotras, vosotras are not. They are not included in the stem change rule. So, as you take notes, it's going to be really important that you keep this visual in your mind, or that you literally draw a bota, una bota, alrededor o encima de la charta de conjugación. So we have different types of stem changing verbs. We have tu, ye, and we always say these with a Spanish pronunciation, so practice them with me. Tu, ye, o, tu, we. This can also be u tu we, but there's only one u tu we stem changing verb, that's jugar, right, as in juego, okay? All right, try this one. Tu y and y tu ye. Let's start with some tu ye examples. Calentar means to heat or to warm. I put it in rojo to make the connection, okay? Again, this is an tu ye. Now, when you look at a stem changing verb, you have to, of course, focus on the stem. Disregard this, focus here. It's not going to be this because there is no stem change. This is going to be your stem change right here, la e. Right? And that is going to turn into ye, as in the yo form, caliento. Now, go ahead, see if you can get the next couple of conjugations right, and there's going to be some pop-up questions along the way. Here we go. What is you warm or you heat? Like, for example, like you heat the water, right? Calientas. He heats, she warms. Or usted, right, would be like you, sir or madam, warms. Calienta. What about nosotros? This is the nosotros form, the stem change. Calentamos. Vosotros, calentáis. And they warm up, or you all, ustedes, warm. Ustedes, ellos o ellas, calientan. Let's recycle another verb that we've used. It's despertar. Again, look at the stem. Right? Uh-oh. We have two right? Which one do you think is going to be the stem changer? It is the second one, And the general rule here is that we have a 2-syllable stem, despert or despert, right? It's almost always going to be the second syllable. Almost always. I'm going to say 99.999% of the time when you have a 3 or 2-syllable stem, despert, go with the second one. So, not this one. This as in I awake. Despertar, to awake. I awake. Go ahead and take a moment to try and figure out the other. Yo despierto, tú despiertas, ella despierta, nosotros despertamos, vosotros despertáis, ellos despiertan. Let's do a weather verb, shall we? Nevar. This looks like the state of Nevada. When the Spaniards arrived to what is now known as Nevada, they noticed that there were a lot of snowy peaks, so they called it Nevada to represent the snowy peaks that they saw. So nevar means to snow. The noun, la nieve, simply means snow. Now here, you can't say nievo, I snow, nievas. You snow? No. You only need to know it snows. And when we're talking about it, that's singular, so you will need the el, ella conjugation. As in, nieva. It snows. Let's go to our o to we stem changers, and let's keep it going with the weather. How about llueve? To rain. Again, you can extract a noun from this verb as in la lluvia, which means rain, like the noun, the thing. So again, you can't say I rain, you rain. No, don't go there, okay? We just want to say it rains. So, again, this is our o to we. There's your vowel. How do you say it rains? Llueve, as in llueve mucho las tardes. It rains a lot in the afternoons. Look at this verb. It looks like sonar, but it means to sound. Like to sound like something. There's your vowel that has to change to something else. Of course, we're in o to we. So we know that all of these are going to be we, no. We, right? You can see the boot right there, right? Okay, so to say I sound, sueno. You sound, suenas. He, she sounds, or you, sir, madam, sound, suena. We sound, sonamos. You all sound, vosotros sonáis, and they sound, suenan. Typically, your most common conjugations of this verb is like it sounds or they sound, right? You don't typically say like I sound, no. Like if you listen to music, you'd be like, oh, it sounds good, suena bien. Or if you hear like a group of musicians and they're playing like garbage, you could say like suenan mal, right? They sound bad. Now, this verb, simply by adding the tilde encima de la N, ahora soñar. This means to dream. You remember the idiom, tiene sueño, okay? Tiene sueño is like he or she is tired, okay? El sueño by itself is the noun meaning dream, right? El sueño, like a dream, like oh, tuve un sueño horrible, I had a horrible dream, right? But when it goes with the stem-changing verb, tiene, right? Tiene sueño, he's tired, she's tired. And here, all we have to do is add the tilde, sueño, sueñas, sueña, soñamos, soñáis, sueñan, right? For example, Olaf sueña del verano. It's a horrible dibujo of Olaf, but my daughter, is obsessed with him right now. So it's the first thing I thought about. Olaf sueña del verano. Olaf dreams of summer. Jugar, I know you guys have seen it. I'm just going to cover it one more time because it's so typical that we do something like jugamos, right? No, right? I've just seen that mistake so many times. So I just want to make sure we cover it. Again, I just put the stem change here. You can see that boot. Juego, juegas, juega, jugamos, jugáis, juega. The yo form can also be a noun, as in el juego, like the game, right? It could be like a card game or a board game, or even an athletic match, like el juego de fútbol, right? A game. Or el juego de naipes, the card game, like el juego de póker. Let's take a look at some E to E stem changes. Let's try them like this. We're gonna go pedir, repetir, seguir. Let's start by identifying where the stem change occurs. Pedir, this means to ask for. Okay? It's very obvious that this will be our stem change. Repetir, it's a cognate, to repeat. But again, 2 syllables. Do you remember that earlier rule? Is it this E or this E? Repi or ripe? It's always the second syllable, repe, right? That's going to be the vowel that stem changes, okay? And of course, seguir. Notice here that we have a silent U, right? It's not seguir, it's seguir. And this means to follow or to keep doing something, like sigue jugando Fortnite. He keeps playing Fortnite. Ugh, okay? Okay. Now, pedir. It is so important that we do not forget the stem change. If we say pedo, that means I fart. That's what it means. Okay? So just the slightest change in vowel makes a world of difference, right? Spanish is a language of fine details. And if you overlook those details, you're going to say something you don't want to say. All right? So, pido, pides, pide, pedimos, pedís, pide. Okay? To repeat. Repito, repites, repite, perdón. Repetimos, repetís, repite. Finally, seguir. You got to be careful with this one, all right? Because you have to take into account this silent U. Sigo, there's no silent U. It's not sigo, no. Sigo, okay? But from there, you have to use the silent U. Sigues, sigue, seguimos, seguís, sigue. Okay, some verbs you can add something to the beginning, it changes the meaning of the verb, as in conseguir. Conseguir does not mean to follow, like seguir, it means to get, okay? And for that you say, consigo, consigues, consigue, conseguimos, conseguís. Consigue, right? Like I get, you get, he gets, we get, y'all get, they get, right?